A woman severely hurt in a hit-and-run crash last summer finally finds out if she'll get justice in court.
Tonight, our Mike McKnight tells us what happened when the driver faced a judge for sentencing. It's our First Alert 6 investigation.
11 times since the hit-and-run crash last summer, Laurel Vogel says she sat in Sarpy County courtrooms through various appearances and continuances. Monday, she finally got to see justice as 42-year-old Troy Brumbaugh is sentenced.
Had he hit me at the right impact, I could have been killed.
Driving the silver SUV, Brumbaugh blew a stop sign, crashing into Laurel's red Toyota. He ran from the scene on foot before police caught him a few miles away. The car he drove while impaired had occupants, a woman and a child.
He had a child in the vehicle with him, and he still ran away from the scene, not bothering to check on anybody.
An ambulance took Laurel from the scene last July with a severely broken leg. 8 months later, she limped before the judge to give a victim impact statement.
It also infected my knee, which now has bursitis in it, which won't clear up until I get a knee replacement.
But an operation leaves her with an expensive deductible. There's also her totaled car to replace, and Brumbaugh had no insurance. Still, the public defender asked that he get probation.
Continue to work and save up money in an attempt to make the victim financially whole.
But Sarpy County District Judge George Thompson denied probation.
It's necessary for protection of public because the risk is substantial. The defendant will engage in additional criminal conduct if placed under probation.
For failure to stop and render aid, a third offense DUI, and having no insurance, Troy Brumbaugh is sentenced to about 1.5 years in prison after time served is deducted. But the victim won't receive that part of justice she requested here in court. After imposing the prison sentence, the judge ruled that Brumbaugh doesn't have the ability to make restitution.
I knew we wouldn't get restitution because he doesn't have anything. And so everything still's coming out of my pocket.
The victim of the hit and run estimates the crash has cost her $5,000 so far.
I'm glad it's over.
In Sarpy County, Mike McKnight, First Alert 6.
The hit-and-run victim has uninsured motorist coverage, but she still has to pay a deductible. She also has a medical bill still coming in with no final determination on how much her insurance will pay or reimburse her.